Welcome to r/relationship advice. Today we have two stories. The first deals with a boyfriend and his use of Tinder, with an update after the comments. The second deals with a man who saves his girlfriend, but pays the price for doing so. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Story number 1. I found out my 32 female boyfriend, 32 male, of 6 months still gets Tinder matches. I met my boyfriend on Tinder. We've been together for 6 months, and I've been living at his place for 2 months. Up until now, our relationship was perfect. We never fight. He is attentive, loving, we went on many trips, and have great fun together. One day as we were on a drive, I was using his phone to set the music, and I found out he had many Tinder notifications, including new matches. I confronted him about it immediately, and he apologized, and admitted he was still swiping occasionally to pass the time. Honestly, it was such a shock. I started crying and asked why he would feel the need to do such a thing when we had been exclusive for months. And in particular, I myself deleted the app in front of him months ago, so I assumed he understood I was serious about him. Anyway, he told me he was only swiping, and didn't chat with anyone for half a year, since we started dating. Once he saw how upset I was, he deleted the app immediately in front of me, but I was stupid enough to not check his chat history to confirm what he told me. I want to point out that I absolutely know there is no way he would be physically cheating, since we live together, and he almost never goes out without me. He has apologized repeatedly. I asked him how serious he was about our relationship. He said he was serious. I don't know what to believe anymore. I was so sure I knew him, and then I discover something like this. I feel like this is definitely something to break up over, but outside of this everything has been so perfect. And at the same time, maybe I was not explicit enough with him, and should have made clear that dating apps were out of grounds. I asked him if he would have been okay if I had been doing the same thing, swiping to pass the time. He said yes, because he trusts me. What should I do? Comment 1. I mean, you could have him re-download the app in front of you, and show you he wasn't actively speaking with women if that will ease your mind. Then go from there, and I would have a deep convo concerning expectations of the relationship from both of you. But for me, since I have dealt with something very similar in the past, I would immediately start packing my stuff up when I get home, find somewhere else to stay, and end the relationship. It's early on, so no need to waste any more time with someone that doesn't know how to respect their significant other. Comment 2. I had this exact thing happen with my boyfriend. To him, using Tinder and swiping was more like a game, like a habit when he was bored. He had been single quite some time before me, and didn't get many matches in Tinder anyway. I think he was just dumb, and didn't think it would hurt me since we never had a discussion about the whole "let's delete Tinder together" thing. He deleted Tinder when I asked him to. And he apologized when I told him it was hurtful what he had been doing. What more can he do? No relationship is perfect. People mess up, and obviously he didn't think it would matter to you since he said it wouldn't matter to him if the situation was reversed. I would trust what he says. Not all stupid things are done with bad intent. What matters is how you communicate about these things and move on. Comment 3. Girl, this same thing happened to me, only it was 2.5 years, and I thought I was going to marry this guy. I foolishly believed him once that he didn't download the app again, then I caught him red-handed swiping with messages dating over 1 year. I dumped his arse. Always looking for the next best thing. Comment 4. To be honest, it sounds like he just wants to look at random girls, at least if he really wasn't chatting with them. I think some men like to look at different girl appearances. This isn't the same as Tinder, but my ex used to look at it, and study different girls when he was outside walking, even when with me. He told me it was normal for men to do so, to check different women's appearances. Of course, that doesn't mean it's automatically okay, and frankly I don't know if it's normal or okay. I'm not a man, so I really don't know how normal it is, but I wouldn't be happy if my current boyfriend did it, especially if as openly, and often as my ex, who BTW got Tinder later so he could look at women while we were in the breaking up phase. Anyway, your opinions and boundaries matter, so he better listen to them. You both should talk about it, and set boundaries so you are on the same page. Update: I found out my 32 female boyfriend, 32 male, of 6 months still gets Tinder matches. So my last post didn't get a lot of traction, but as it's often the case, you guys were completely right, and I should have listened. So I thought this was a good opportunity, and therapeutic for me, to post an update, and that way put this relationship to rest. So after my last post, I stupidly forgave him, and things were pretty good for the most part. Except my insecurities resurfaced, and I started worrying about stuff I didn't really care about before, and that I now know were not good signs. For example, I didn't know any of his friends. One day, his behavior seemed more off than usual, and he told me suddenly he had to go to work the next day, which was a Sunday. I knew his job could be very busy, but that schedule seemed extra fishy to me. So I did what I never did before. I looked into his phone. Turns out he actually planned to spend the day with another girl for what looked very much like a date, lunch, museum, etc. From their messages, they only met a month before, and their exchanges were completely platonic, if overly nice and enthusiastic, so he was not cheating per se, but was certainly leaning towards it, and he lied to my face, so that was enough. I told him we needed to talk, and asked him about it. Our discussion remained calm, and I apologized for snooping, but I needed answers. He didn't deny it, and admitted he just wasn't as invested in our relationship anymore, and didn't see us go to the next step. Of course I was sad, but was pretty much expecting this, so there was nothing else to discuss, and we agreed to end the relationship. I asked him to help me move my stuff back. I packed everything and he drove me to my place, from where I'm writing this now. Thank you all for your advice. I ignored the signs, and hopefully I'll have learned my lesson for the future. Comment 1. Hindsight is 20/20ths. Don't beat yourself up for not doing this, or not doing that. Now take some time for yourself and heal. Wishing you the best. Comment 2. He's an arse for cheating on you, and good think the relationship ended. Hope you find someone who's good to you and treats you right. Comment 3. You dodged a bullet. But don't beat yourself up about forgiving him the first time. You chose to forgive and forget. If he didn't make the best of it from the clean slate, it's his fault. He didn't let you know about how he didn't feel as invested in the relationship, and went straight to making plans with other women before breaking up with you. That makes him a coward and a prickhead. Comment 4. Glad you ended it. He's a coward for jumping on Tinder, and hiding a date from you when he could have easily sat you down, and told you he wasn't invested anymore. Dude is 32 going on 12. Don't beat yourself up over things. You'll find someone worth your time. Story number 2. How to help boyfriend after he saved me. I, 17 female, have been with my boyfriend, 17 male, for 2 years. He is amazing, and I love him deeply. It was late at night, and he was sleeping over at my house. He had fallen asleep. I forgot my charger in my car, so I walked out to our parking lot towards my car. 2 of my neighbors, both guys, who are a few years older, saw me. They came up to me making inappropriate comments, and were about to assault me. They were clearly drunk. My boyfriend had noticed I was gone, so he came outside. He ran to us, and pushed them away from me as they were about to touch me. They told him to leave, and mind his business, or they would beat him up. He told me to run away, and I did, and I heard my boyfriend yelling out in pain. My next door neighbors came out, and they got them to get away from my boyfriend. He was hurt bad, and I drove him to the hospital where I met his mom. I have been staying with him, and his mom these past couple days. I can tell he is traumatized by what happened. He tries really hard not to cry in front of me. I also heard him tell his mom that he feels like a failure, and is humiliated because he was beat up in front of me. He is my hero. I wish I hadn't gone outside that night. He has a broken arm, black eye, concussion, and broken nose. How can I help him recover emotionally? How can I help him not fear crying in front of me? How can I help him not feel like he failed me, or not feel embarrassed? How can I adequately tell him, and show him how much I appreciate what he did, and how much I love him? Comment 1. He requires some counseling after such a traumatic event. Remind him that he saved your life, and that it's okay to be vulnerable. Comment 2. If he is actually traumatized, you can't do anything about that, and you should encourage him to see a therapist, because they can teach him how to deal with this. He shouldn't see talking to a therapist as being weak, but more like talking to someone who can teach him something he doesn't know how to do yet. It's nothing to be ashamed of. As for the other part, you should tell him how grateful you are that he protected you, and that you feel incredibly loved that he would put himself in harm's way to keep you safe. You should also tell him that it's okay to cry, you're his girlfriend, and you want to be there for him, and that with you he has a safe space where he doesn't have to feel ashamed. Comment 3. Info: did you guys press charges on those that tried to assault you, and beat him up? And he just needs reassurances, that's all. Remember, right now he is vulnerable and in pain. You can't and should not force him to open up to you. Just be there for him, and let him know he is your hero. All the best, OP, and speedy recovery to you, your Superman over there. Poggers he is. Comment 4. Sadly, this is the unspoken role of men that gets ignored by many in society, thinking we have this unlimited privileges, and life is so great for us. You should do what you're doing now, be there for him. He needs to learn that being a hero in real life does not always mean that you win the fight, it's the fact that he stopped you from getting hurt which was the goal. 2 vs 1 rarely goes well for the one like ever. He is not any less of a man for losing, and is in fact greater than the 2 who beat him up, as they only fought due to having the upper hand. Your boyfriend fought at a disadvantage, he became the wall in which they could not break, he has his life, and his honor. As someone big into Viking culture, he earned his place in Valhalla by their standards. Also therapy, he needs help to process these emotions. People not raised in a fighting culture do not take the emotional aspect of it well naturally. Comment 5. Counseling, and maybe take up boxing, or something similar to get him out of the mindset. When I was in my late teens I was assaulted, beaten, in my own apartment by several people looking for someone I knew. I was woken up on my bed in the morning, and it continued for several hours. I was beaten by pipe and fists, my apartment was trashed. I suffer from PTSD, and have only gotten out of the mindset after I started to lift weights. It helped me a lot. What your boyfriend went through, in my mind, was worse than what I went through since you also are a victim. How about you both start with martial arts and counseling? Thanks for listening.